Welcome back into the Coach's Corner. I am Pirates Insider Jake Ignaszewski here with Rayshaun Kizer, the Pirates head coach, as well as Pirates offensive coordinator Mark Stoute. So, Coach Kizer, I want to start off with you. After the tough loss last week in Duke City, what was your assessment of the team's performance against the Gladiators?
Well, we didn't finish. I mean, that's one thing I want us to start doing now is finishing. We're not finishing these games. We're taking plays off still. We're taking plays off, and we're letting these teams crawl back in, and we're making it in the game in the final minutes of final seconds of the game, man. That's what's been killing us all season, man. We just got to start finishing these drives, finishing plays, and not taking plays off.
And that word specifically, finishing, that's something that we talked about last week. You said that was the number one thing that you guys need to do a better job in, especially in the second half. So especially whether it's in film, whether it's in practice, throughout the week of preparation, is there anything that you're doing, especially after last week's loss, to change so then you guys are able to finish better next week?
We're just going to pick up the intensity of practice. We going more competing now at practice, which pick up the intensity. So that'll help pick us with second half play and allow us to start finishing these games a little more.
And speaking on, especially this was the first practice after you guys traveled back from Duke City, and so what was sort of the energy that you felt like during this practice, especially after such a tough loss?
Well, energy is always high after you lose a football game. I feel like it wakes the guys up, but we got to keep that energy going into this game. If we play how we practice today, we have a pretty good game coming Saturday.
And Coach Stoute, looking specifically at the quarterback position, you guys had a new quarterback under center in Taz Wilson. So especially with him coming onto the team a few days before the game, how did you really help him prepare for the game against Duke City?
Well, the good thing is he's played indoor football before. He's played in the IFL before. So he's got to learn some terminology, learn how we call plays and so on, but we want to make sure that we don't overload him. So we went through our offense. I went through our offense with him, and we kind of came up with a game plan of what was in and what was out. So we shortened the game plan a little bit. As going forward, we'll continue to look at that, and we'll continue to add some pieces to it. But we definitely don't want to overload him to the point where he takes any steps back in his mental preparation. So we want to make sure his mental preparation is the number one thought process for this week.
And especially with, helping him learn the offense, we saw it throughout the game. Sometimes wide receivers came over during the huddle, sometimes running back came over during the huddle. So especially during that process of relaying plays, how did that process evolve throughout the game, and how do you think that worked?
Well, I think it went very well. We had one snafu where we might have got into play a little bit late, and we couldn't get the verbiage out for him. But yeah, if we have anything that's a wordy type play or something, then I usually will signal one of the other guys to come over to make sure I got two ears listening to it, and then they can make any corrections in the huddle. Because once he leaves me, I'm not in the huddle with him, so I'm not sure did he call it right, did he not call it right type of thing. But we're trying to stay away from anything that requires too much talking in the huddle. Take those plays out of the mix right now. We have a couple of those plays that are, stretch one way and pass the other, RPO type plays where you're calling two plays in one. So we're trying to eliminate those for right now and then work on just being straightforward with what he's doing.
And especially with the lack of preparation, starting with a new team, learning the plays, what was your assessment of Taz Wilson's performance? I mean, he threw for three touchdowns. He looked pretty comfortable under center. So throughout his performance, what do you think he needs to work on? What do you think he did well on?
Well, again, I think he had a great game for a guy who, came in and had one practice and then had to play, and he's thrown into the mix against a good football team in a hostile environment. It was loud down there. The fans were going crazy. So all that's tracking kind of a little bit against him, but did very well. Now we'll try to expand his role and give him a couple more things. But again, the emphasis being that we don't want to overload him. So I'll err on the side of caution and maybe hold back a few things. And then as he gets more comfortable, then we'll start to feed into the mix more. But for a first game out, for a guy who just came in and played on short notice, he had a fantastic game.
And speaking on that fantastic game from Taz Wilson, Coach Kizer, I want to ask you because Taz mentioned that you guys had a past relationship in Bismarck, and so especially from what you saw from the sidelines of his performance, is it what you expected? And talk a little bit about the leadership that he held, especially coming in 2 days before playing Duke City.
Yeah, Taz, he's a great player, awesome leader as well. I coached him back in 2019 in Bismarck. Got a lot of talent. When we was in need of a quarterback, that was one of the first names I texted Jawad because I know he was available. So I'm glad we got him in here. He came in and did exactly what I wanted him to do. He took control of the game. took what the defense gave him, and he made all the throws and played pretty good. Like Coach Stoute said, coming off one day of practice and have to be thrown in the fire. So that's credit to him. It shows a lot about his character, and he's looking to go uphill from here.
And then looking specifically at the defensive side against Duke City, one positive thing is you mentioned the key target was their wide receiver, Dello Davis, and you guys held him to 35 yards. And so what do you think the defense did well in being able to stop Dello Davis getting open field and making those great catches or long receptions?
Well, in our game plan, we're not really focusing on trying to stop one player. Yeah, we locked in more on trying to stop Dello, but we're trying to stop the whole offense as a whole. And we didn't do a good enough job, contesting the other two receivers because they're the ones that scored the touchdowns on us. But we just got to do a better job in the back end, winning them one-on-one battles. I feel like we lost a couple of them contested throws and getting off on third downs too. That's been big for us. We got to get off the field on third downs. We letting these teams get first downs on third down conversions. So, we just got to do a better job overall on the defensive side and pretty much securing and getting off the field for real.
And one component that both of you guys have mentioned is a major thing that you guys need to work on is penalties. And something that we saw I think it could have been from the lack of preparation for Taz, being able to get the calls and being able to get back into the huddle and relay them to the receivers. But what did you guys do specifically in practice to help speed things up so then there isn't as many delay of game penalties?
Yeah, I think we had like one or two, and with a new quarterback, I think that's plenty. Obviously, we would like to have none. In practice, the same thing. It's no different than being in the game. When we go into team, we're going to practice fast. We do team, we do skelly, where it's live action. Then we're always in fast mode to practice at that point and get the plays in, get the plays out. So he'll continue to work on that, and he'll be fine. I don't foresee any problems with it going down the road. We haven't had any problems coming into the game. And again, like I said, not only did we have him new, we had a new offensive lineman, so he's got to go in and he's got to have a talk with the offensive lineman and let him know what to do, or that guy's got to talk to the other offensive lineman to make sure he knows what to do. So Bell was our new offensive lineman in there with him at the same time. So it can happen. And like I said, they were able to work it out, and we were able to come out of the game and get ready for this game where we shouldn't have any problems with that.
And speaking on all these new players, you guys got also Ivan McLennan who came in, Taz Wilson, Wilson Bell, as you mentioned. So Coach Kizer, how would you assess the new guys' performances, being able to come in, learn things quickly, and then being able to go out on the field and perform?
Well, all three of those guys you just mentioned, they actually played pretty well, all three of them. And we're looking to, keep that energy and keep that same momentum going moving forward. So I know I love Ivan, great pass rusher, got a motor on him, a lot of energy. So he brings a different dynamic to that defensive side, which I feel like we've been missing was that energy. And I feel like he's going to bring that energy. Wilson Bell, he's a vet of this arena game. He's been around for a while, so it's great to have somebody of his stature and on that front line and help out Lockett and Rubens as well. And Taz, he's just a great player, man. I already talked about him. He's a good leader. He's a good leader in that quarterback room, and like I said, the more he just meet with Coach Stoute on the offensive side, the more comfortable he's going to get.
And then looking specifically at the Green Bay game against the Blizzard, something that not only happened against the Blizzard but happened this past week is you guys allowed the team to be able to creep back in the second half and ultimately win the game. So is there anything specifically in film, in practice that you guys are doing to make sure that stuff doesn't happen again?
The key word is just finishing. The biggest thing, we can't take plays off. I feel like sometimes a lot of guys that get too complacent and they taking plays off. It's just a lack of discipline, just a lack of focus for real. They mental got to get better, and that all starts at the top with me. I got to make sure these guys are locked in on every play to get these guys to finish these football games. All right, I'm always take full blame whether we win or whether we lose, but yeah, I just got to do a better job as making sure these guys locked in on every play so we can start finishing these games.
And that'll definitely be the goal this next Saturday. But and then also looking at defending Blizzard quarterback Jack Sheehan. He's a guy who you guys allowed 5 touchdowns total for him last matchup. So he also has the ability to scramble too. And what you've mentioned in the past is, especially with scrambling quarterbacks, you guys are focusing on controlling those gaps. So is it a similar game plan for Sheehan? But since he's a dual threat, are you guys preparing a little bit differently?
Well, I went back to watch the first time we played him, and he did break the pocket quite a bit on us. Nothing different this game. We just got to control our gaps. Can't rush too wide and create these running lanes for Jack. But he's a great player. I told the defensive line today he's a hard-nosed kid that's going to do whatever he can do to help this team win. So he's not going to quit on any play. So he's going to give it his all. And we expected him to come in and do the same thing with us. But we got to control what we control. Or we got to control what we control up front, and that's just doing our 1/8 on the whole defense and offense as well.
And then lastly for you, Coach Stoute, looking at the Blizzard defense, right now they're currently the 5th best in pass defense. So does that change your game plan whatsoever going into Saturday?
No, I mean, we've progressed along the way now to where we're probably almost a 50, 55, 50, 45 type mix, 50-50 type mix in terms of our run and pass. We've done a good job. The line's gotten a lot better with our run game. So we're pretty much a balanced offense. We can take it in either direction, which creates a problem for the defense that we go against because they just can't key in on any one player or any one read or any one down. It's a good defense. They've got some good players. They play solid. They play as a unit. I think how we have to beat them is we have to beat them at their own game. We have to be a solid offense. We can't have any, we have to have 8 guys all locked in on every play and all executing at a high level on every play. And I think guys are starting to realize that going forward, don't judge a team by its record. You might have 5 wins, you might have 4 wins, we might have 7 wins. It's all about winning this game, and nothing that happened before this game matters except for when we get on the field. You need to make sure that every snap you're number 1 and the guy across the line is number 2. And if we achieve that, then we're going to win the game. The score will take care of itself.
That sounds like a little bit what we talked about last week about just being 1-0 every single week, and I think that's a great message to preach. And just lastly for you, other than not taking plays off, finishing games, having competitive practices, is there anything else that you guys are working on specifically leading up to this Saturday's game?
Well, the main thing we got to do is get healthy. We're a little banged up right now, so we got to make sure we get a full team out there at full strength, and we'll be good. We'll be good. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really focused on what Green Bay is doing. I'm focusing on us, getting this team locked back in so we can do what we got to do come Saturday to go 1-0, and that's really it. We always put together a good game plan. It's just about executing, going out there and executing the game plan and making sure we do what we got to do to win this football game.
That'll definitely be the goal on Saturday. And if you have not yet, make sure to get your tickets for this Saturday's game, June 11th, 7 p.m. You can get your tickets on MassPowersFootball.com, also at Ticketmaster. But as always, Coach Kizer, Coach Stoute, really appreciate you guys joining. If you have not yet, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. We post the Coach's Corner every single week to keep you guys updated on how the coaches are pairing the Massachusetts Powers players each and every single week. But also, put down in the comment section below if you guys want to ask any questions to any of the coaching staff. We want to get you guys involved as well. But as always, appreciate it. See you next week.